So it's an honor to interview Sharon Knight. Sharon will be giving the opening presentation at the conference of December the 2nd. Hi, Sharon, how are you?
I'm well, thanks, Maria. And yourself?
Very well, thank you. We had elections, presidential elections yesterday, and this is, a unique and historical moment for us. So I'll be talking about that at the conference as well.
Brilliant. I look forward to that.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that. So thanks for asking. Oh, the
online conference,
A Bridge to the Future.
Yeah.
So before telling us what you will be presenting at the conference, I know that you're part of the Faculty of Astrological Studies, and I know
No,
that
I'm
you're
not part of the faculty.
Oh no, but you studied there?
Oh, yes, I studied in those days. So this is the late 80s, early 90s. They had certificate, intermediate, and then the final diploma. So I got the intermediate, and I was just about to finish the diploma when something happened that made me question the whole of astrology. And it is a big regret that I didn't stick with it and take that final exam. But I found Olivia, and so I went down a completely different route, which had part of that was to do with why I lost my enchantment with the faculty. But I think as schools go, it is still, certainly in the UK, one of the best and most prestigious faculties.
But you found traditional astrology,
right?
I certainly everybody who finds a traditional astrology falls in love with astrology once again.
Yeah.
So what was studying with Olivia Berkeley like?
Interesting. She was a wonderful character. She was totally dedicated to getting horary astrology out there. And in fact, there's an organization called the APAE and the APAI, so they're separate. The faculty was the first school, obviously because it's got its roots back to Carter and Leo, but the QHP was the second school to be admitted to both of those entities, because it was a complete structured course. And of course, from the QHP, you've got John Frawley, you've got obviously Sue Ward, Barbara Dunn, Deb Holding, Lee Lehman, Christopher Warnock. The list just goes on of, I mean, not me so much, because I am a working astrologer. I haven't written books, and although I teach, I have my own course. It's not a big course, it's a one-to-one. But I think all of my ethos, or majority of my teaching ethos, came from Olivia, who was quite a taskmaster. And she was, if you showed your passion, she was great. She was incredible with giving her knowledge, suggesting ways that you could be better, in a very blunt Sagittarian Leo fashion. She was very blunt, but such a debt I owe her. It's enormous.
Yeah. I mean, I've asked this to many of her students, and everybody says the same, she could be hard, but her knowledge and her love of astrology, I mean, we're all indebted to her, because she was your teacher, but I wouldn't be a traditional horary astrologer if it hadn't been for her. It's many of us that are indebted to her. Okay, so you knew or came across traditional astrology, and at the conference you will be talking about profections, right?
Well, what Rod's asked me to do is kind of give a gentle opening. It's a Friday night. People want to chill. They don't want to think too hard on a Friday night because they need their brain cells on fire for Saturday and Sunday, both days, you know, full on different speakers. So my talk is just very gentle, very light-hearted, I hope. But also what I will be presenting on will be showing how easy astrology can be. And this is what people forget, because we get so caught up in all these different techniques and these different aspects and this and that, and you lose sight as to just how easy it can be. So I will actually be just demonstrating how to quickly interpret a chart. I will mostly be using natal charts because it's just easier for people to relate to. But of course, this technique, or the techniques, basic astrology, is used for everything. So you can use it for the especially the mundane. I think it's, again, it helps give you clarity as to where you're going to go with each planet. Yeah, so that's basically it. But coming back to Olivia, because it was entirely due to her. I was one of her tutors in, I think, 92. Well, I was tutoring for her from 1991, I think. But Project Hindsight started. And Olivia didn't do anything gently. She rang me and said, Sharon, if you want to remain as a tutor, you've got to support this new thing coming out of America, Project Hindsight. You've got to sign up to it. And thank you, Olivia. So, you know, I've got hundreds and hundreds of these Latin and Greek.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. So, and that's really
great opportunity.
Yeah. And because of that, I got really interested. I couldn't understand it. I had nobody, because people forget, in the 90s, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have Zoom. And but I was very aware of Rob Zoller, and I had his book, again, which I found difficult to understand, because again, there was no one to say, hey, you know, what do you think this means? And then Rob came over, I don't know if it was 94, 96, and I met him, and I started studying with Rob Zoller. But then that was the early course. I think that was 96, and I was studying 96 to 98, 99. But the course, he was developing the course all the time. And when I saw the course, the finished object, which got the likes of Ben Dykes, Ona Dosha, Stephen Birchfield, they're just such amazing astrologers. And I think it's a fusion of having the understanding of Lily and then being able to blend that with Valens, Dorotheus, da-di-da-di-da, Theophilus and everybody, that kind of took my astrology in a different direction. And here in the UK, because again, when Olivia was teaching, it was still the outer planets. But once I started studying with Rob, I dropped the outer planets. And in fact, because we were talking earlier about Sue Ward, it's only Sue, Barbara and myself, to my knowledge, that are strictly 7-planet traditional astrologers. Well, as you know, you studied, so you still take into account the outers, but we stick and stick hard with.
I've tried both methods, yeah, but I mean I have Zoller's diploma but it was mostly Bonatti, wasn't it? I'm trying to remember. I did it.
Oh
like
yes, it was predominantly Bonatti.
Oh yeah, it was okay. Okay, not so much Hellenistic, I think, right?
Well, no, it wasn't. The Liber, what's it? And Bonatti, I've got his books up there. Yeah, I think it was because, of course, you see, there weren't the translations available that we have today. And again, that's where Ben Dykes is such a superstar.
Yeah.
Because
yes,
without Ben, and although I've got the Brill, Charles Burnett's translation of, the Great Introduction, it's so pricey that a lot of people who would be interested couldn't afford it. And of course, Ben produced an affordable edition.
It's Abu Mashar, right? I'm trying to...
Abu Mashar, The Great Introduction.
Yeah, okay.
So it's blending all these authors that brings me to teach and do the type of astrology I do, but it's it's the lineage it comes from.
I understand. And tell me, Sharon, what is so unique about Rod's conference? I mean, Rod is doing something quite out of the box. He's having people from Brazil, from Argentina, from Peru, from England, from all over the world. What do you think is so unique about this? And I celebrate that. I was part of another conference, a World Summit conference this year, by Wade Caves, and this is the second conference of that kind that I'm going to attend, and I feel so blessed to have a voice, being from Latin America and taking part in these conferences. So that is what's unique for me. What is unique about this conference for you? What do you think is so special about it?
Rod.
Okay.
That's it. What more can I say? Rod is special. His energy, his enthusiasm, his passion, his knowledge. And I've been exceedingly fortunate to have been over to Taiwan with him and taught at his school. The knowledge of even his beginners was astounding. And I think the reason that they had good knowledge, they were able to understand this odd English woman, is because of his passion. And he's a passionate teacher. He's a passionate person. He's passionate about astrology. And perhaps because he comes from Taiwan, he is aware of inclusivity of a global network. I know the British conference and the American conferences, they do bring in, obviously, people from other countries, but Rod's just special. I mean, that's all I can say, really. And I'm deeply honoured that Rod did ask me to open the British or the English-speaking part of the conference, I should say.
Okay, so I'm really looking forward to your talk, and this is going to be a great opportunity for astrologers all over the world. So thank you so much, and see you there.
I look forward to it, Maria.
Bye-bye.
Bye.